Next to the program, we have a former World Boxing Council International Light Heavy and current WBO and NABO light heavyweight champion. He also holds the distinction as being the only boxer to score a stoppage win over former undisputed world champion Bernard Hopkins. He is Joe Smith Jr.
Welcome to TITLE Unboxed. With more than 40 years of experience in the fight game, our host, Doug Ward, will be covering every corner of the ring as we get comfortable between the ropes. We'll talk with both the lesser-knowns and the legends, discuss boxing's rich history and current state of the game. We'll also look at today's latest innovations, equipment breakdowns, and insights you won't uncover anywhere else. Join us now as we take a look inside TITLE Unboxed.
Joe, welcome to TITLE Unboxed.
How's it going? I'm glad to be on the show.
How you doing out there? How are things in your neck of the woods?
Not too bad at the moment. I mean, we're allowed to go out. We can go to restaurants and stuff, but it's still not back to normal.
Yeah, but you've been training through this whole process and staying on top of it, right?
Yeah, been staying in some bit of shape, just in case something pops up. This way I could be ready, get right back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody's in that boat right now, just trying to stay ready enough to wait for the call and things to open back up, or, see how everything progresses.
Yeah, man, I'm just waiting on the news. I hope something good pops up soon. I want to take that belt home and I'm looking forward to having some big fights with the belt.
Well, it'd be nice to capitalize on your momentum. I mean, you just came off of a big win over Alito Alvarez in August, right?
Yeah, it was a great competition. It was a great fight. It was turned out to be a great night for me. I shocked a lot of people by stopping him. And I'm just looking forward to doing it again.
Well, you're the first guy to do that, right?
Yeah, man. He was a tough guy. I mean, in the fifth round, I was hitting him with some big shots, and I've never anybody like that and had them stand up.
Yeah, he took some shots for sure.
Yeah, definitely a tough guy.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that because you're one of the first fights coming out of the fighting in the bubble during all this the virus and the pandemic and all that. We'll come back to that, but most listeners, the first time they heard of you was when you kind of came out of the woodworks against Andre Fonfara, who come off of a big win against, I can't remember who he fought that really shined the spotlight on him and made you the underdog coming into that fight. But you come in and you stopped him in the first round. It was huge. I mean, everybody, you got everybody's attention with that.
Yeah, that was that was my chance to that was my opportunity to get to where I am now, and that set everything off. Yeah, with that win. It was a great fight, but coming into that fight, we seen some weaknesses with him where once he starts punching, he doesn't stop, and he kind of leaves himself open. So my thing was just to throw that overhand right. Yeah. When he did that, it worked.
Waiting for the right shot.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you know going into that fight that was going to be your big opportunity? Did you have a sense of the magnitude of that?
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was just me, my father, and my trainer. We sat down and we just came up with the idea to shoot for that. And that was what I was looking for. And it worked perfect. Yeah.
Now, coming out of that fight, you got a lot of attention. Did you feel the impact of that fight and, the kind of star power that brought you kind of immediately? Coming from, most of your fights on that had been on the coast and not televised, and, you're kind of an unknown commodity, and certainly the underdog in that fight. So coming out of that, did you feel how that changed your career?
Oh, yeah, it blew my name up pretty good. Right after that, I got the fight with Hopkins. Yep. And after that one, forget about it. I was traveling I went on a vacation and people were recognizing me. I was like, how the hell? It was crazy. People coming up to me like, oh, you're the guy who just stopped Hopkins. I was like, yeah. So that was cool.
It's amazing how, I mean, you can struggle in this sport for a long time, and it just takes that one fight to bring you out of
Yeah,
obscurity. And, especially with a performance like that, I mean, that catches everybody's
yeah,
attention.
yeah. There's been some up and downs in my career, but
Sure.
right now I'm feeling my best and at my best, and I just want to stay busy,
Yeah.
and have some nights like that.
Well, momentum is so important in this sport. And this time, while everything's kind of up in the air for you, but all fighters, it's got to be hard to kind of stay
Yeah,
focused and kind of, stay active and get that groove going.
yeah, it definitely gets tough at at points when you have no idea what's going to happen, or if anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it is.
Yeah. So that kind of was your kind of coming out party that shed the spotlight on you. But give us a little bit of background for those people that aren't familiar with your career, where you came from and what your background story is, even from an amateur and how you got into the sport. That part always fascinates me.
Yeah, well, I got into the sport. My father brought me down to a boxing gym when I was 13. I actually just moved in with him, and brought me to a gym. And within, I say, 2 weeks, I started sparring with guys who've been there for a long time, and I was doing great with them. So, my father and the trainer at the time there was telling me, you got to stick with it. I stuck with it. I won the novice Golden Gloves. I won the New York Metros like 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then I bumped into my current trainer, Jerry Capienko, and he took me to the next level with my pro career. Turned pro with him, and he told me, he's like, just give me a little time. I'm gonna make you champ of the world, And I'm like, yeah, all right, we'll see about that. But
Yeah.
I just listened to him. I stayed in the gym, and here I am today. I'm in line for my second title shot. So
Right. Right.
looking
Was there a point
forward.
in your amateur career when you're like, when it really clicked for you, where you're like, oh, this is for me. I want to make a living out of this. I want to make a career out of this.
Um, winning the New York Metros and Empire State Games, stuff like that. I definitely knew, like, I had I had something, but I didn't know at that time that I could be where I am today.
Yeah.
But after like the Hopkins fight and the big fights that I had, now I see that I could be something great if I just put 100% into it.
Absolutely. So your style as a pro, you say you met your pro trainer and he helped develop you. Was your style as an amateur very similar to your pro style, or was there a big transition and a lot of difference in that?
It was I was just a tough kid who just came in swinging,
Yeah.
moving on him, he taught me, the basic boxing stuff. And then from there on, we just kept working on it and working. And, I feel I've been improving with every fight. I've improved a lot. Now
Yeah.
I'm starting to get loose, starting to box more and use my power while doing that. So,
Sure. Well, a lot of times it just comes down to doing the basics better than everybody else, don't you think?
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So then let's skip forward to that. What was then the upset of the year? I mean, you come in against definitely an underdog. It's really kind of cool. You've got kind of a Rocky-esque kind of story because you were an underdog against Fonfara, but then definitely were handpicked by Bernard Hopkins for his kind of his retirement fight. And talk me through what you remember about that fight. What's memorable about that entire experience, and how that kind of made you the fighter you are now.
Well, that fight there, everything was about Hopkins the whole time, and he made it that way.
Yeah.
He made sure, he was selling the fight big time.
Yeah.
And and he started calling me, a common man, and he's a special man.
Yeah.
And I like the common man thing, so I kind of kept that. But because I kind of had the common man thing before that, but
Sure.
he was really throwing it out there, calling himself special, and that he had no doubt in his mind that he was going to win that fight. And,
Yeah.
I just ruined his night.
Ruined his night and kind
Yeah.
of his career, did you?
Yeah.
You won that
Yeah.
fight by knockout in the 8th round, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember being in the ring with him and what you saw and, just what you were able to capitalize on?
I was like really shocked. Like, he's really a great fighter. And, he had little crafty movements and, little things that I've never seen anyone do before, that, took me a while to capitalize on. But I think the main thing in that fight was just I overpowered him. It's just too. And because I remember though a few times like catching him with great shots right on his chin.
Yeah.
And the guy, he could take a punch, man. He's never, obviously, I don't think he was never stopped before. So
He wasn't.
that was
nope.
a big, yeah. So every time I hit him on the chin with my best shot and he just looked at me and like hit me back with something, I was like, oh man, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
But got him on the rope there. I hit him like right on the side of the ear with a right hand.
Yeah.
And that's what, I hit him on the chin with everything. Now he got a good chin.
Well, guys like that are veterans, have been in the ring that long. They also learn how to take a punch. I mean, they know how to roll with the shots and alleviate some of the power. But
he rolled shots very well.
Yeah,
he rolled punches really good. I remember chasing him to the rope one time, and I started rushing it a little too much, and I threw a right hand, and he slid to the side, and then he hit me with a straight right hand. And I came running in again and he hit me with another one. I was like, all right, you need to slow it down a little bit because he started just catching clean shots coming in.
But again, that's part of the learning experience. I think you kind of surprised him, though, with your speed and power. I don't think, sometimes fighters are deceptive watching them in film or something else, but then live in person, the game changes a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so obviously we touched on it, but that fight changed the trajectory of your career, right?
Yeah, that was everyone who knew who I was after that fight, because Hopkins is a big name and no one's ever stopped him before. I know he was up there in age, but he was still sharp. He was still a good fighter, and he beat Koval. Well, he won the world championship, I believe, a year or two before that. So
yeah. So coming out of that fight, then what was your next fight after that? Do you remember?
After that one, was that the Barrera? I believe that was maybe the Barrera fight.
Barrera, yeah.
I went into that fight, I kind of felt like something was wrong with my jaw to begin with. And but I told myself, I was just going to go into that fight and try to get the win, because it was probably going to be my last fight. But, X-ray a week before the fight on my jaw to make sure everything was good because it was bothering me. Because I got hit with a good shot in sparring. Yeah. And I kind of heard something, crack in there. So I went and got the X-rays done. They said they didn't see anything. So I was like, all right, we're going to continue. We're going to take the fight. Nothing's wrong with it. But, I was like getting sick overnight and everything. I had diarrhea. Horrible.
Oh, wow.
But took the fight and, I guess a round in, I got hit with a good shot. And from that point on, I knew it was broken.
Oh, you knew but, during the fight.
Yeah, I knew for sure it was broken. It's happened to me before, so I knew it was done. And, I just wanted to finish the fight. I was hoping, I dropped in the first round.
Yep. So
I was like, I can get the guy out of here at any time. So I just pushed myself, but I started looking for the knockout too much because of what was going on. And, I lost the decision. And then after the fight, I bounced back. I took some time off. I thought I was going to be done.
Yep.
But I came back, and I've been on a roll since. But except for, I won a fight. Then I fought Bivol.
Yep.
And, that was a good learning experience. That I feel like that was my one and truly like real loss,
Yeah.
is, I got no excuses for that one, but it was a good learning experience. That guy, he's a great fighter, Bivol.
Yeah.
And, I picked up on some things from him, and I've been working on it in the gym. And each fight, I believe, since then has shown that I'm improving ever since. So I'm looking forward to it, the next one.
Yeah. So when you do, I mean, you've had those successes and you come off and you do have a little bit of a stumbling block against Barrera, Bivol. What do you learn from those challenges, those losses? What do you take away from that you go, okay, this is going to make me a better fighter?
Yeah, I mean, I just, it showed, like, rewatching everything. I seen the little mistakes that I was making. And, I picked up on things that they were doing that were good, that were working on, against me.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I just went back to the gym and I started working on those things that I've seen, and they've been improving.
So what adjustments have you made that have made you a better fighter, you think, out of the result of those?
Really just my feet, trying to stay looser, a little more head
Mm-hmm.
movement, and not, always trying to be so aggressive.
Right. Take your time, box more, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, try to look for the openings a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, it's hard when you have success on, aggressiveness and power, like you did against Fonfara and Hopkins.
Yeah. When you get to this top level, and the guys don't make any mistakes, or you need to be an all-around fighter. You can't just have one thing.
Exactly. And that's kind of what you brought to the ring here this past August, which really
Yeah.
showed. I mean, it was obvious that you were an improved fighter with a more
Yeah.
well-oiled all-around game.
Yeah, after that fight, everybody was telling me, "Man, you look great. That was the best you ever looked." And your movement, your speed, everything looks great. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're gonna be champ.
Yeah. Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
So in a recent podcast, I know you saw it because I think I saw you reposted it. Teddy Atlas mentioned that you were one of his favorite fighters, and Teddy. I mean, for all the knocks you can make against him being outspoken and brash, he does know his boxing game. He put you up there with Lomachenko, Crawford, Canelo, and he said, in his words, were you were the definition of a fighter who's someone who finds a way to overcome. That had to feel good coming from somebody of that caliber.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome, man. Because I watched a lot of stuff with Teddy Atlas, and he don't give compliments like that too often, and, and I got a picture from when I was a kid, in the amateurs with him. So I
Yep.
reposted that, and him saying that. So that was pretty awesome.
That's great.
And that stuff like that motivates me to work harder and, just prove those people right,
Right. Those are the highlights, right?
Definitely.
But again, he draws attention to it. It's funny you say Hopkins called you the common man. Maybe kind of even helped create that persona, even though that's who you are. He helped kind of embed that, you're the Rocky-esque kind of guy. You're the hardworking common guy.
Yeah, I love the name. I got it's definitely sticking now.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, that's just your background, right? I mean, when you're not doing this, you have a tree removal, stump grinding. I don't know what you call that kind of a business.
Yeah, we just it's called Team Smith Tree Service, and me and my father opened it up together.
Mm-hmm.
So he does all the estimates and gets the crew together and gets them to where they need to be. I just pop in, I make sure everything's going well, and when I'm training, I stop in here and there as well. But
Right.
Other than that, I'm real focused on just my fighting right now. I just want to keep it, become a champion.
Right. But you've worked throughout your career, right? I mean, you've always had a day job.
Yeah. And but whenever a fight gets close or anything, it's all about the fight now. I
Uh-huh.
don't, but it's hard to stay away all the time.
Yeah.
I gotta go up here and there still, but when I do, I usually get yelled at by my dad or my brothers. You
Yeah.
gotta get out of here. I remember one day, it was right after one of my fights. I showed up to the job site and I started climbing a tree and started taking it down. They came over. They're like, "What are you doing? Like, you can't be doing this no more."
But, so you balance it out by, when it comes fight time, you set the business aside and you're all about the boxing game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But I think that's great. It also makes you relatable. I mean, you're out there working like everybody else is. You just happen to fight for a living.
Yeah, when I show up to the job site, sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, Joe Smith, he's actually here." He's my picture and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Cool.
That's got to lend to it that you've got some recognition that goes along with that side of the business, and they kind of complement each other.
Yeah, definitely. It's awesome.
I mean, fortunately, some promoters have figured out the key in how to keep having fights during all of this, and put fighters in quarantine and the bubble, and they get to keep fighting. Yeah. So, what was that experience like? I mean, it's a little different when you don't have the crowd, you don't have all of your fans and supporters there. You're not surrounded by your family. It's a little bit of a different situation, isn't it?
Yeah, most people wouldn't like it, but I didn't mind it too much. I mean, I would have liked to have some friends and family there in the crowd, and my fans there. I knew they were still watching at home.
Sure.
But it is nice to hear them screaming for you and cheering you on. But I was so focused on the fight, and I knew they were watching at home. Even walking out the ring, I was like, all right, everyone's watching me right now. Just remember that. And I walked out there. I knew everyone was watching, and it was great. But what I liked the most about the bubble is everything was scheduled, perfectly. Like, you got on the scale on time. Everything was, lined up nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would imagine the promoters aren't dealing with 100 different things, so all they got to do is just take care of the business at hand.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It was good.
Did it make a difference in your focus? Is it easier to concentrate because there's not a bunch of other distractions?
Yeah, definitely. There wasn't a lot of distractions. So, like, when it was time to get on the scale, I walked up, got right on the scale, went back to my room and started eating and rehydrating,
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not that easy. You get to the weigh-in and you're sitting around because things are just all over the place. These guys were well prepared and, ready to just get you in and get you out.
Did that whole process have any effect on you as far as your meals and making weight? And because some guys have struggled with that. They've not made weight because they'd have a sauna or, all the amenities that you typically have. Food was different. Did you experience any of that?
Well, food there, they had a kitchen set up where you could just go and eat, and that was great. And they had, good food there. And also, as far as the saunas, they had like a little sauna box set up, one of those portable saunas.
Right.
They had that there, but I actually brought my own. So it was good. Sauna right in my bedroom.
There you go.
It was great.
You have a sauna will travel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like your promoter had his act together then, and they'd kind of figured out some of those challenges you could experience if they weren't prepared.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my trainer Jerry Cap, I thank him for that one. That helped me a lot, having that little portable sauna. He went and picked it up, I think, a week before we left. He's like, "Oh, I found you never believe what I just picked up." I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "Oh, I got a sauna for you." I'm like, "What?" The thing was awesome too. It worked out perfect.
That is smart. You got guys that are taking care of the details. That's what you need. Those guys that are thinking ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always thinking ahead.
Yeah. Well, you've had some exciting career moments, and I know everybody's really looking forward to what's coming up next for you. So how do people follow you, engage with you on your social platforms? Tell us where to look at, and they can kind of track your progress.
Really, the best thing is just my Instagram at Joe Smith Jr. 631, and you could track me from that. I guess see everything
Easy.
I got going on.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
keep us updated. We're all sitting on the edge of our seat waiting to see what's coming up next.
Yeah, I hope to be in there soon to put on a good show for you guys.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I mean, Joe, what I like about you is you are so relatable. You're a laborer, you're a working man, you're kind of a blue collar guy like, most fighters are. They're just regular people trying to make a place in this business. And, you just happen to be the light heavyweight champion of the world on top of it. So appreciate that about you, and, love all that you bring to the game.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Keep in touch, Joe. And we'll talk again soon. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this episode of Title Unboxed. If you're anything like me, you can never get too much boxing. So if you'd like to watch more episodes, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our Title Boxing YouTube page.